Welcome to RetroLogic. I'm Sam Wagers here with John Cummins and Shannon Eno once again. Dan will be taking a brief hiatus from the show. It won't be that long, but he'll be back in a couple. And this week, while the Dan is away, we figured why not talk about some Fire Emblem. So that's going to be our show topic for tonight. We've got some community couch input as well. We'll be kind of just going over the history of the series, our experiences with it, our expectations for it moving forward. But before that, we've got, of course, our usual games for The Price is Retro. Always just a good time to hang out with everybody. Because RetroLogic is not just a podcast, it is a whole community of retro gamers. We've got an active, friendly, and free Discord, giveaways, contests, and a whole family of retro podcasts such as RetroGroove, a music history podcast, On Topic Retro, a podcast dedicated to one video game per episode, which just released the Zelda, Phantom Hourglass.
I guess technically we broke that rule.
Well, yeah, that's 2 games, isn't it? It's not one game. Dedicated to one or more games per episode.
I guess we've done that a couple times.
Yeah, I think it's happened. I guess
up to
times.
3, right?
The 4 sword.
It's happened a few times. That's all right.
Nice.
It's the concept. You don't have to be.
Yes.
You don't have to be devoted to it.
It's not rules.
It's not
They're
a law.
More guidelines.
Yeah, it's the pirate's code of Zelda. Exactly, because it's Phantom Hourglass and there are pirates in that one.
There are pirates.
So it makes sense.
There's also pirates in Spirit Tracks, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Train pirates.
And demon trains. And a demon train.
I guess technically they're not train pirates. They're still in a ship. You're just on a train going over tracks that are on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Make that make sense.
Oh, okay. No, you can build train tracks on water.
I guess they're suspended on a bridge, but you don't see that part.
Yeah, so that's On Topic Retro. And again, new episode out on Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. We also have FilmLogic, all about movies, and they have a recent episode on the Guyver. That sounds vaguely familiar to me, but
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, me too.
I'm pretty sure it is not the prequel to the TV series MacGyver. But I could be wrong.
It could be tied somehow.
Probably not.
knowing the stuff.
I guess we'll have to listen and find out.
Before we get into our games, anything else interesting happen this week with you guys?
I did poke some fun at Dan in the community couch question, because I don't know how many. I mean, you have to be a pretty good listener to know that Dan has a pretty great disdain for Fire Emblem.
Yep, that's why we're doing the episode
exactly. And then also just kind of a quick. This is kind of a PSA, but if anyone's looking for something to play to scratch the Zelda itch, they just released that mini shoot Adventures on Switch 2 that I've already played.
That looks good.
Yeah,
that looks good.
You have sold it probably to me over Discord. It's probably just a matter of when, because it's zero.
So good.
I have so much
and
stuff
especially
to play,
because like I just a couple years ago started actually getting into like shmups. So that little bit of
I think I would say it's a little less shmup and a little more like it's more bullet hell than that. Like you definitely have way more area to move around in.
Yeah,
normally you do. Sometimes they close you in a little bit.
Yeah, I think I did get that impression. You see the little spaceship and you think Gradius, but it probably plays more something like, I don't know, like Zombies Hate My Neighbors or something like that.
Yeah, and when I say Zelda, I mean the map is basically a Zelda-like map, like the original game. Like you start off, you go to a cave, you get your first weapon. They basically are kind of just very, very little drip feeding you story. You have to kind of figure it out on your own a little bit later. The really big thing that I'd like to point out is the accessibility of the game. I think they understand that they're going to draw a larger crowd than just a bullet hell crowd with the kind of mashup that they're doing with this game. So I mean, they really go all out and give you all kinds of ways to try to make this game playable. Because the very first thing that I came across whenever I even mentioned it on our Discord is I'm really not good at these games. Every time I try one, I kind of get burned and end up not playing it. So I will say there's things that go all the way from, I mean, they just have a difficulty setting to start off with. You can play easy, medium, hard. And then the very first thing, as soon as you get your gun, they kind of ask you, hey, how do you want your gun to work? Do you want to be fully in control? Do you want to have a little bit of guidedness to your bullets? Or do you want to have like full lock on, homing bullets? So they, right off the bat, they're giving you options there. And then when you get into the game, they have sliders in there of how fast do you want the game to be. You can reduce the game's speed all the way down to like 50%, I think. So that whenever you're, if you get to a spot where you're stuck on a boss or something and the bullets are coming at you too fast, you can kind of slow the game down and make it more manageable. They even have the ability to make you invincible and have to where you can't lose your like power shot or whatever. So, I mean, they try to accommodate, basically any kind of player. Like I could see my son playing this, my 4-year-old even, he was watching me play it and he was wanting to play. So, I could start a game file for him and just make him invincible and he can just go around and kill everything and solve the puzzles and shoot and stuff. And so, I mean, they really put a lot of thought into that, and it's really nice to see stuff like that. I hate to see people turn away whenever something is just so hard that they can't, get a hold of it.
Agreed. Because that would have been an issue for me. Like, I'm not good at those kind of games either. And so, I just don't have time. I don't have the time to devote to a
playing
game
over and over and over
just
again.
the same thing over and over and over again, hoping to, get good enough.
And to kind of put it into perspective on what you might be looking at difficulty-wise, I don't play these games at all. So I'm kind of in that same crowd of these aren't really for me. I don't have fast twitch reflexes anymore to be able to be dodging around bullets the whole time. But I managed to beat this game on the medium difficulty setting, which is the normal one. And then I did I did the middle setting on the gun as well. It's like I had whenever I would shoot my bullets, they would kind of like slightly turn at the end if there was something nearby. They weren't like just fully locking on to enemies, but they would kind of bend a little bit if there was an enemy nearby. It wouldn't just be a straight stream. And I managed to go all the way through the game that way. I did play when I got to the second to last, there's like a mega boss, and then there's like another area afterwards that's like all these challenges. I didn't bother with that. I stopped at that point, but I did go through the mega boss, but I did have to drop it down to like 75% gameplay speed. So if that tells you anything, I'm not a person that's an expert at these games whatsoever, and I was able to do it without, go through the whole main story without ever having to touch an adjustment. So
that's really good.
Should be able to accommodate pretty much everybody at that point.
Nice.
I mean, and it's the upgrade pattern, the whole loop is just so satisfying and good. And it's very Zelda. Like you even get, at one point you get a power up that allows it to where you have a really powerful shot until you lose some of your life. Just like in Zelda, how you have like, you can shoot the sword, have the sword projectile until you get hit. So, I mean, it's got a lot of callbacks to it too. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, the Zelda thing, I mean, that alone is
it's
going to get
totally
me to buy it.
Totally worth
it's
it.
Just a matter of time.
All right.
That's all I got.
Oh, did you have anything, Shannon?
No, I mean, I'm just, to nobody's surprise, I'm still playing through Dragon Quest 7. And,
Nice.
Yeah,
How many hours are you now?
I don't know, 30 some hours. I think I have more hours than it took you to beat the game. And
you must have taken a break though.
I don't
time.
get to play a ton, But I do have all my characters now, and everybody except for the last character, your last main character, everybody else has got every job, or they're on their last job. They're all learning hero at this point. They've unlocked and mastered every other job. So I'm just having fun, just going around. I talk to every character. I listen to everything. I'm just soaking up that world.
Yeah, because I can't remember if on the last show if I had already beaten it or if I was really close. But yeah, since then I've already got 25 hours into Pokemon Leaf Green and
Right.
Made it to the Elite Four and kind of paused there.
Yeah, I don't
to
get
take a break.
I just unfortunately during the work week it's hard this time of year to get a ton of hours in for me. So
I've been getting up early and trying to put some time in.
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's helped me out a lot. There's like a good 10 hours a week that I can get by getting up just a little bit earlier.
Nice.
Spending less time to get ready.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been busy too, so I haven't been playing much. I am still streaming, although the last Monday, this last Saturday, I did not. I will not be this next Monday either because I'll be out of town. But I have been enjoying Armored Core Project Phantasma. About halfway through the arena in that game, which is debuted in that game, so that was pretty fun. Had some fun arena matches. I mean, it's just AI opponents, but still pretty fun times. Really enjoying that. Glad I got a working disc for it. And that's pretty much been it for me. But we do have one other bit of housekeeping, which is the return of our backlog challenge. So if you guys remember, we'd each kind of challenged each other to play a game off of our backlog. We each kind of picked 3 and then had the other hosts narrow it down, help us pick what to play. This time for round 2, we are going to let the community help us decide. So we've taken the 2 games remaining from our previous list and added another game off of our backlog, a game we either didn't finish or maybe have never really played, at least not much of. And over the next 2 weeks, before next episode, we will close the voting. So if you want to vote on our backlog challenge for each of us, you can do that on the Discord. That will be coming up shortly after this episode goes live. And so for my list, returning from the previous iteration, we have Zack and Wiki, The Quest for Barbaros Treasure on the Wii, Grabbed by the Ghoulies for the Xbox, and new to this rotation, Glory of Heracles for the DS.
Nice.
So I played a little bit of Glory of Heracles. I bought it actually pretty recently. Picked it up at Vacuums and Video Games, believe it or not. I kind of liked it, but it was surprisingly tutorial heavy. And not that the game's really complicated, but this game actually takes a lot of time explaining basic RPG mechanics to you. And I was just like, I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah, I have that game too, and I haven't started it, but it's always been on my list of ones I want to get to eventually.
I guess I'm up next here on the list. So my 2 remaining games are Kirby and the Magic Mirror for Game Boy Advance and A Secret of Mana for Super Nintendo. And joining those, I am adding Harvest Moon, which is a series I have never played any of the Harvest Moon. So this is the Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo. It is on the Switch or Nintendo Switch Online or whatever it's called. I feel like I know John has talked a lot about them I could see myself getting into it. So thought I'd add it to the list.
I know you have this on your list. If you get into Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo and it feels a little too, maybe a little too grindy or a little bit too rudimentary, the 64 version is also on NSO. And if you need to switch over, like, I don't know. The N64 one's my favorite one. The Super Nintendo one was
kind of an
okay.
expansion of the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's a lot like the Super Nintendo game. It just has better graphics. And
like the map is very
streamlined
similar.
Yeah, they streamlined a lot.
Oh.
The first handful of games are all very, very similar. They give some quality of life improvements and just easier to look at.
Well,
like I said, if you get
I'll
stuck
start
on
it and feel like
yeah.
if I need to, if it gets picked, we'll see. So
yeah, I think you'll enjoy them though. They're good, like little time sinks. And the thing that I like about them is you never run out of things to do. It's not like Animal Crossing where you're reliant on the real daytime.
I had that experience in It's a Wonderful Life, but I think we talked about this. It's a Wonderful Life. There's like a dead period in the middle of the day because you have to water your crops twice. And I just find myself like waiting until the second time came around.
Yeah. With Harvest Moon, there's none of that. I mean, it does its own day-night cycle. So you struggle to get everything done that you want to get done in the day. So welcome to having a second job and being stressed out.
All right. That sells it.
Yeah. But in a fun way, if you like checklists.
All right, John, remind me which of these is new for you.
Okay, so my original list was Grandia 2 for the Dreamcast, Drill Dozer for the GBA, and then I had Wario Land on there, but I completed Wario Land for Virtual Boy. So now I've traded that out for Final Fantasy, the original game. I own this on original hardware, but I think I'm going to not stress out and pull my hair out, and I'll probably play the Pixel Remaster and enjoy this a little bit more than I would to go that far back.
Yeah, the Pixel Remaster is it's a good version. It's a good representation. It just gives you the ability, if you want, to speed things up, right? So
yeah, and I think I own this game on like 7 consoles. I mean, I've got the Game Boy Advance, I've got the PSP, I've even got the Wonder Swan version. I mean, I just need to get back to it.
Just whatever you do not play the PlayStation 1 version.
Oh, I have that too. Yeah. I don't need to play that.
Don't do that.
Don't go back there.
Don't add loading times into that game.
Well, it's sure to be a good time anyway.
Yes.
So once again, listeners, if you want to vote on that, if you want to really get my thoughts on Grab by the Ghoulies or one of those other games, then you can vote on the Discord, and we will report back in a future episode when we've had a chance to play those games. So
we should have put Dan's list on here, and we should have put a Fire Emblem game in it.
Yeah,
and
just add Fire Emblem.
After this episode airs, and then he can find out that he has that game on his list, and then
make sure it's one of the good ones.
For it. It needs to be like the one for the Game Boy.
No, I think what we do is we just make him finish Chrono Trigger. That's what we do.
Oh yeah. If he still has it, I don't know if he still has Chrono Trigger. He might have got rid of that one after he got stuck.
I don't know. Maybe. But we do, of course, have this week's game of The Price is Retro. If this is your first time playing along at home, here is how we play. We will each list off 4 or 5 games, and everyone has to guess on how much the lot is worth in total. Whoever is closest to the actual value wins the round. Everyone has a list. Everyone guesses on each other's lists. And at the end, the player who wins the most rounds wins the episode. But we have our deadly trio of AI players. The robot, Deus Guess Machina, who averages all our guesses together. The dinosaur, Leonard, who adds up all the original retail cost of the games. And the ghost, Poltergeist, who always just guesses $300, which seems to work a lot of the time. And they work as a team, so in order to beat them, we have to beat all of them. Their rounds, one count together. So, without further ado, Shannon, do you want to go first?
Sure thing. So, continuing my classics list, where I take one system and some of the highest rated games for that system, say they're all complete in box, and see what it would cost to get those games today. So this week it is Game Gear. Last time we did Game Boy Color. This time we're doing Game Gear.
You got 5?
5 of them. Yes, sir.
Awesome. You just made my job easier.
All complete in box. First one is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Second one is Mortal Kombat 2. Third one is Ristar or Rystar. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Fourth one is Streets of Rage. And the fifth one is Dragon Crystal.
You said complete in box?
Yes.
Yeah, I do not have a good
complete in box Game Gear is
idea.
Kind of out of my...
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen complete in-box Game Gear for sale.
Not very often.
They're very hard to find. That's some rare cardboard right there.
But the question is, are people actually looking for it?
Oh, there's Game Gear collectors out there. I run into them from time to time on, some other buy-sell trade servers that I have on Discord, but there's a lot. It seems like a lot of the boxes that survived are the ones that nobody wants, like PGA golf or somebody's tennis game. I don't even know a tennis player, especially not for that time period.
I will guess first, and I really do not have a good reference point for any of these. So I'm just gonna say $430.
I think I'm going to go 500 because I know that Dragon Crystal's pretty.
Well, guys, this is completely a really crappy situation because the total is $304.88, which means
we were not beating him that time.
Nope.
No.
When I saw that total, when I added them up, I was like, well, let's see what happens.
Heck, even the Dino was closer than we were at 200.
Yep. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2, $17.24. Not much different than the loose. Mortal Kombat 2, $38.51. Rystar is actually the big one here, $147.71. Streets of Rage, $52.50, and Dragon Crystal, $48.92 is all.
Wow. Yeah, I think I had all the ones at $50, and then I was like, well, I bet there's one big $300 one in there. So that's how
I probably would have done the same thing. That was a tough list.
Yep. That cardboard. All right. Well, I will go next, and John will guess first.
Okay.
My list is a little cutesy based on our show theme. We'll see if you pick up on it. First, I have Blue Dragon Awakened Shadow for the Nintendo DS, complete in box. Ninja Gaiden for the NES, loose. Pokemon Conquest for the Nintendo DS, complete in box. And the Nokia N-Gage system, loose. This is your fortnightly reminder that the Nokia N-Gage exists. So the theme here is these all bear resemblance to Fire Emblem titles. Shadow Dragon, Gaiden, Conquest, and N-Gage.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm first. I'm going to go 350.
Well, I have 325, so hopefully
350, 325. So, okay. I believe John is going to take it. The total is 381.87.
wow,
Pretty
nice.
close. So the breakdown: Blue Dragon Awakened Shadow for the DS Complete, $150, 13 cents. Ninja Gaiden Loose for the NES, $16.99. Pokemon Conquest for the DS Complete, $112.45. And the Nokia N-Gage Loose, $102.30.
That was a little more than I thought for some reason. All right.
I don't know how much the Engage was retail, but if I had a way to calculate that, the Dino might have won that round. But
possibly, I don't know. Complete, it goes for about double at 203.
Yeah, I mean, like when they were new, I don't remember. I don't know how much they were. I never was interested in one.
I didn't know it existed.
I remember them, and I remember because Sony had kind of like some competing. They had some like game phones as well, but nothing that played a cartridge.
Just a quick Google search tells me that the original price was $299.
Oh yeah, no, they would have put them way over then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll accept that.
You will take that win.
I will take that win. Just debunked my Dino theory. Okay. So I guess it's my turn.
So I think...
All right. So my list is...
Either Poltergeist wins or we get a tie here. We'll have to come down to the tiebreaker. You're in a pretty good position for the tiebreaker, though, right? Or no,
because it was $4.88.
Yeah, Poltergeist is in a better spot.
You have to pretty much guess exactly here.
Yep.
Yeah. So my list is just like some strategy games that I'm interested in trying out. I didn't really have a good theme this time. I just was thinking strategy because of Fire Emblem, but most of these are newer games too. I did throw one classic on here. My first game is Growlancer Heritage of War for PlayStation 2, complete in box.
I think I have that. I should put that on the
you should,
backlog.
Yeah. I don't think I own this one, but there are ways to get it. I just haven't got there yet. Next game, Fairy Fencer F Refrain Chord, complete in box for the Nintendo Switch. The next game is Brigadine, The Legend of Runertia, for the Nintendo Switch, complete in box.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, these are like some pretty known ones, I think. This last one is the only one that I didn't know about until recently, and somebody made me aware of it, so I threw it on the list of something to look out for. And that is Redemption Reapers for the Nintendo Switch, complete in box.
All right. I think it's my turn to go first. And I am going with 240.
Okay. I have 191.
I have a feeling I went a little high, but...
Yeah, so my total of my lot is 153.28.
Wow. Man.
So, let's see here. Since both of you guys guessed over, that eliminates the robot. The Dino would be... the Dino's way over. He's at like 200.
So I get the round, but unfortunately tiebreaker.
Yep,
goes
robot
to
wins.
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist wins.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the whole trio, they're a team, so.
Yes, this is true.
What's the breakdown, though, of yours?
Okay.
Curious where I was off.
So, Growlancer Heritage of War for the PS2 complete in box is $51.99.
Okay. I went high on that.
Fairy Fencer F Refrain Chord for the Nintendo Switch complete in box, $27.69. Brigadine The Legend of Runertia for the Nintendo Switch complete in box is $43.61. And Redemption Reapers for the Nintendo Switch complete in box, $29.99.
It's not bad.
Yeah, the Switch games are kind of hard to judge, because they're, a lot of them have gone down from retail, but there every once in a while you get a spike. Mm-hmm. Some of those limited run games or whatever, some of those get a little crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, no, looks like a Rampage win.
Wah, wah, wah.
Get them logged in. Kicked our butts.
Okay, so that's it for Prices Retro, and I do not have a Spot the Fake list this week.
I do have some cards, though. We can do a trivia card.
Trivia time.
All right. Let's see what we get. In Dark Souls, which infamous duo must be defeated in order for the player character to obtain the Lord Vessel?
One of them Smog or Smaug? Ornstein and Smog, right?
I am seriously impressed, Sam.
Yeah, I did not have that. So.
Wow. Dragon Slayer Ornstein and Executioner Smog.
Okay, there we go.
Is it Smaug? Like in
I think it is, but I might be wrong.
Smough.
OU. That's right. Smog. So not the dragon in the Hobbit is with AU.
Smog. Yeah. I'm very impressed though. Dark Souls, no, I can't. No. See my comment earlier about no time to get good at a game.
I think that's like the boss everybody talks about, because I haven't even played the OG Dark Souls. I played Dark Souls 3, but you look up like random other bosses and people compare it to that one. So.
All right, and in what game series are you able to use Eagle Vision?
Assassin's Creed?
Sam's on a roll.
Yeah, I was going to say, Assassin's Creed.
That's correct.
It's got to be Odyssey, right?
It's all of them, isn't it?
I didn't know if it was specifically Eagle Vision in all of them, but I know Assassin's Creed.
I actually thought... This is weird that my brain works this way. It might even just be a weird coincidence. But I thought it was because it was called Eagle Vision because Altair's name means eagle, I think. And he's the OG Assassin's Creed main character.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's feathers. Like feathers are a thing. It's a motif in Assassin's Creed, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, and I'm thinking of something different too, because I think this is like the this is kind of like in the Batman games where you can see through things or whatever, right? With the vision.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's how you spot your targets.
Yes, like everything goes to almost like a heat vision type. Heat signature type vision, and like you can mark your targets. That's probably what I'm thinking of, or what it is. And I wasn't thinking of that. I was thinking of something totally different in Odyssey.
Yeah, it's weird. Those are two series I don't think about often, but for some reason that was right at the top of my mind.
Just clicked.
I've at least played one game in both.
Yeah.
Guess that was enough.
It was today.
All right, so that is it for our games for the week. And we will take a short break and return with our show topic. All that you ever wanted to know about Fire Emblem. And
Dan's favorite game.
My unsolicited opinions about it. Welcome back. Our show topic, as I said before, is the Fire Emblem series. So I think all of us have played more than one Fire Emblem game, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So we can just kind of go around, kind of state what our series is, what kind of perspective we have on it, and then we'll kind of give the rundown of what the games are, and then talk about how we kind of think they've changed over time. I guess I'll go ahead and go first. I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but I got into the series with Radiant Dawn on the Wii, which is kind of a weird entry point. It is, at least among the international releases, often considered one of the hardest games in the series. Much of that has to do with the fact that the previously named normal, hard, and maniac mode difficulties were renamed to easy, normal, and hard. So a lot of people played on normal and got what would have been on the previous game called hard.
Right.
But on top of that, the fact is it is a direct sequel game to Path of Radiance on the GameCube, which means that you're kind of just thrown into a story that's already halfway done, sort of. Interestingly, I found the game does a pretty good job of catching you up. And you do get you get the sense that there are these characters that I'm supposed to recognize from something else, but it hits all the points just like any other like fantasy story would. There's a lot of world building that's given to you through exposition of like, oh yeah, there's this war that happened between these two countries several years ago, and people still remember it, and Ike is a hero in that war, and the evil king was defeated, and now he's been replaced, and that's why everything is the way it is now. That's the sort of thing that would also just be part of a standard story, so it never really bothered me too much. I did always want to play Path of Radiance because I knew that game existed, but even back then, it was an expensive game. So instead, I played the Game Boy Advance games, which were a lot more accessible at the time, at least compared to the GameCube one, which I say expensive. It was like $80 or something loose then. It's not as expensive as it is now, but like back then it was like, wait, you want me to pay above like retail price for a GameCube game? Like, come on. So yeah, I played the Game Boy Advance games. I never played the DS remake, oddly enough, probably because I got a DS late in its life cycle. And I remember Fire Emblem Awakening was like the big new thing when I got a 3DS. I actually think, because I bought a used 3DS, I let my family know, because it was like October when I bought it. So I let them know at Christmas, like, hey, I want 3DS games. And I think I got 2 copies of Fire Emblem Awakening for Christmas. So I had to bring one of them back to GameStop and trade it in for Animal Crossing New Leaf or something. And yeah, I did enjoy Awakening at the time of its release. I've played every mainline Fire Emblem game since, I think I could say. But the more recent games have been a little bit disappointing to me. We'll get into why that is. But yeah, I will mention too, when I was going back through the series, I eventually, sometime maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago, when I was kind of learning to play, use fan translations and was aware of fan translations, learned how to kind of patch things myself to do that. I did play through Genealogy of the Holy War on the Super Famicom through a fan translation. Because that game is, by a lot of fans, widely considered the best, especially by old school Japanese fans. And I did enjoy that a lot. I also played through the anniversary release of the first game as well. So I do have some perspective on the very early games as well.
All right.
I cannot comment on the spin-offs, though.
So I first became aware of Fire Emblem when I was looking for a GameCube game. And I was in Best Buy, and they had some games on sale. I can't remember if it was just a normal sale or if it was a clearance house sale or whatever, but one of the games at a discount was Path of Radiance. And I was like, strategy looking game, looked back. I thought, that sounds like something I would enjoy. So I picked it up on a whim. And even though I had played Smash Brothers at this point, of course, but it did not click to me that those were Fire Emblem characters in there or anything. So
sword fighters.
Yeah. So I just picked it up, like I said, on a whim, on a sale or whatever. Very fortunate that I was able to get that one. And I really, really fell in love with that game. I put a lot of time in it, trying to get better and better at it. I think I was able to take it maybe one level. I certainly couldn't do the hardest version, the hardest difficulty. I'm trying to remember what it was called in that one now. Do you remember, Sam?
I think
I did hard, but there's one more.
I don't know because I haven't even finished Path of Radiance yet. I'm playing it on SL.
Oh, that's right.
But because it unlocks when you beat it.
It unlocks when you beat it.
I think it's just called hard. Or is it okay? It's usually usually it's either called Maniac or Lunatic.
Yeah. Might have been Maniac.
Sometimes those are separate levels.
Yes, I certainly I think I tried it. I was like, nope.
Or maddening.
Nope,
I think the latest games call it maddening.
Yeah. But and then looking up, online where to find all the hidden items and all sorts of stuff, and just playing a lot of that game. And so then I did end up going back and finding and getting the Sacred Stones. I was able to get that one. Played that on Game Boy Advance. Played Radiant Dawn when that came out on the Wii. I did find a copy of Blazing Blade. Played through that. And for whatever reason, I never got around to the DS remake of the first one, the Shadow Dragon.
I feel like nobody did.
Yeah. That one just slipped by me.
I don't think it sold very well at all, to be fair.
Yeah. It's not too badly priced still, though.
I remember being aware of its release, reading reviews about it online. I think one thing that a lot of people complained about, and I thought was weird, was that the characters, the character models didn't have faces at all, on the combat screen. And it's just that's a choice. It just had blank faces.
Huh. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It's one of those things that seems more weird in retrospect, how nobody has feet in Awakening.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So after that, I would say I have played, other than the remakes, because I didn't play the remake of the second one on the 3DS either. It just slipped by me too. But I have played all the other mainline ones as they've come out. I did play the first Warriors game as well. I played the mobile game, the first mobile game, Heroes, for quite a bit. I don't currently play it, but I played it for probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I would
It's
say
my coin
that.
farm.
What's that?
I said it's my coin farm.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that I am probably very close to Sam in feelings about the modern games. Maybe I might not be quite as tough, but I definitely have some concerns about where the series has kind of gone in the last few entries. I think that for me, the GameCube and Wii will be the crowning point, and I kind of hope we can get back to that at some point, but we will see.
So I'm kind of like, I'm with everyone here that I probably was introduced through Smash Bros. Originally.
Well, to be fair, there were no games with a global release prior to Smash.
Right.
Yeah.
Even the one right after. That's the one that gets me. Is that Binding Blade came out after? Like Roy was put in Smash to promote it so that people would buy it, but it still wasn't a global release.
For the longest time, I thought that was just the Japanese naming, and so I didn't even realize for a long time that was a separate game. I thought it was just like a different title of the same game for Blazing Blade.
Right. Well, and then we got a whole, Final Fantasy II type situation where the seventh game was just called Fire Emblem when it did release everywhere. So I think the title,
because it was going everywhere.
The official English title being Blazing Blade, Blazing Sword, Blazing Blade, I think was only finally confirmed by a text box in Heroes that tells you what game a character came from or something. And the funny thing too is that game because that game is a prequel to Fire Emblem 6. Fire Emblem 6 is Roy's game, but one of the main characters in 7 is Ellawood, who is Roy's father, and looks a lot like him. So I think a lot of people picked it up and they're like, oh, this is Roy. Well, actually, no.
Why does he have a different name? Yeah.
But yeah, so I found out about it through Smash. And I actually would go through and read all the trophy stuff for Smash. So I learned about the actual series through that, not just that there were characters from it. But Smash came pretty early in GameCube's life, and I did not stick with the GameCube for real long after it came out. I'd kind of moved on to move back to PC pretty quick. So I never played Path of Radiance. And then I didn't own a Wii for a very long time either. I didn't get a Wii until after it was 2009 was when I got my Wii. And
my grandma had a Wii before you.
Yeah, so Fire Emblem was not on my list of games to pick up for the Wii. I think I had Mario Kart and a handful, Punch Out and some other ones. So my first Let's Play Fire Emblem was probably Awakening, which is probably the point where everyone else is. A lot of people are either hopping on or hopping off the series. I missed the Game Boy Advance games too. I don't know what happened, but just never did get to them. And I liked Awakening. There are definitely some things about it that still irk me. There's a lot of unnecessary game mechanics they're kind of thrown in there to draw some interest from people that wouldn't normally be interested. it's a double-edged sword. You know, we complain about some of the things that Fire Emblem Awakening introduces to the series, but the game also saved the series from death. So if we get at least one more good Fire Emblem game, you have to think Awakening for that.
but think about how many Advance Wars games we didn't get.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Advance Wars, as much as I want a new one, and I'm right there with everyone, I feel like Advance Wars was kind of running.
It's not a guarantee. Just because they wouldn't be making Fire Emblem doesn't mean.
I think the reason we got more Fire Emblem is because Advance Wars was kind of falling off.
Oh yeah, and Awakening was kind of made with the expectation it would be the last, or at least the last for a long time. Yeah, with the idea that it would be kind of a send-off for the series.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I can't say a whole lot about the older games. I've only kind of dabbled in some of them. I mean, I played the Shadow Dragon when we got the Switch NES anniversary one. I didn't play all the way through it. I mean, that game's very, very hard to kind of sit down and settle into. It's very NES. I'll say that.
Yeah, there were some odd choices in how they chose to, like they literally just run the entire game faster for the speed up.
Yeah.
Like even the music plays faster. It's like you really couldn't.
You can separate those two things, okay.
But hey, it's the first time we got access to the original form of the original release, which I think is pretty cool. It had that whole collector's edition too, with like the Crystal NES cartridge or whatever.
I bought that one, and then I come to think of it, I think I played part of Echoes. I skipped Conquest. And then I really got back on board with Three Houses is whenever I got back in. I bought Engage, but fell off pretty quick. There was something about Engage. I just could not connect with the main character.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I mean, I didn't know if we were going to jump into that yet or not, but
I was just kind of going through my experience with it, where it landed at. Just kind of touching on it. We don't have to get real deep into it yet, but that's kind of where I've left off. I do know that we're supposed to be getting the next Fire Emblem game here relatively soon, and just the kind of roundabout rumors is that it's going to be a kind of a sequel to Three Houses.
I think that's all but confirmed.
We saw a reveal that there's a character that is from.
Okay, yeah.
How that works is not entirely obvious, but
no.
Yeah. But I mean, Three Houses was my. I mean, I could do with probably some less of the mechanics that kind of draw that game out. Some of the relationship stuff that
the tea times.
Yeah, the tea times.
Less tea.
But I mean, those things weren't enough for me to dislike the game. They're meh. I mean, they're there. The combat is really good in Three Houses, and I did enjoy going through the story beats with, I think I went through at least 2 of the houses and maybe most of the way through the 3rd house. I didn't do any of the DLC. I mean, I put almost 100 hours in that game, so I enjoyed it. I could definitely see where people are kind of upset with the direction that it's going in, that it's getting a little more fluff than we usually like to see in strategy games. But at the same time, Three Houses is probably the best-selling Fire Emblem game.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And maybe not without counting Engage. I don't know how Engage did. They probably got a lot of extra sales.
Engage fell off very quickly.
Yeah, pretty quick.
From what I understand. I don't have the numbers, so I don't know how how much, but compared to Three Houses, it was not as successful.
Yeah, and I think that Engage probably got a lot of.
And I
an
do think
increase,
that
a
is
boost.
mostly because it didn't have the same word of mouth that Three Houses did. Sometimes those kinds of numbers, they can be misleading because there is a trailing effect. Where after a game people like, people will buy the next one. That's why Battle Network 4 is the best selling game in that series. It's because everybody liked 3. It's not because everybody liked 4.
Yeah, and that's what I was. Maybe Engage was even worse sales wise than what we think, because it probably got a boost from Three Houses initially.
Well, that's why the initial sales were strong. I think they leveled off pretty fast. There's probably something to be said too that a second game on the same system might be a little aggressive for what is ultimately a kind of niche series at the end of the day.
There was just something about the character did not feel as, I mean, because even the character you play in Three Houses is a generic character, right? But it's not even, there's just something about it, like I just could not connect with that character.
I think with Engage, a couple of things. I think what also maybe gathered some sales initially were the idea of all of these returning characters from previous games, right? Like that idea was kind of exciting to me as a fan of some of the older ones.
As the rings, right?
But then it quickly realized that these are really just a shadow of.
Yeah, they're not characters
with
depth or story.
There's no depth.
I remember seeing the trailer for Engage, and even by the end of it, I was still asking, so is this a new console game, or is this a sequel to the mobile game?
Right.
Yes, it did feel very mobile-like.
3 years later, I'm thinking, you know what? It was a sequel to the mobile game.
I think so too.
In a lot of ways, I think you're right. And to be fair, that mobile game Heroes has done bonkers numbers for Nintendo. It is their only highly successful mobile app.
It's also the most predatory of all of them.
100%. It is without a doubt. But there are still today. How many years has it been? It's been out since 2017. So 9 years, and it is still. It makes
arguably got longer legs than Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
it's crazy because it's like the one game that really didn't follow the pattern that Nintendo was trying to put out with their mobile strategy.
Yeah,
they're kind of like, we want to be upfront and fair with the customer and like charge a one-time price, or there's going to be limitations to what you can actually purchase in the game, kind of like Animal Crossing, those types of things. No, Fire Emblem's just like, you guys can go crazy and buy as many characters as you want. So
going back to Engage, though, I think the other part, and like you said, the main character, your main character that you're playing in Engage has very little personality either. And then when all this excitement is supposed to be for these ring characters from the past, and they're just a shadow of any personality they've ever had. It just makes me feel like the characters are blah. Like everything is just.
The game is so slow starting off too.
It is. Well,
I think I put like 3 or 4 hours into it, and you don't even get outside the tutorial area hardly.
It's, and then I do appreciate that. I think it has some really good maps.
Yeah.
Engage has some of, as far as more modern Awakening on games go, I think that Engage has better maps. I will be honest with you. My biggest issue with Three Houses is actually not even all the fluff, although there is some of that too, but it really has, in my opinion, some of the worst maps.
Yeah. It reuses a lot of maps.
Yeah,
it just plops enemy units down on the same rectangle of. of nothing.
Those maps are boring, to be honest with you, in my opinion.
Maybe the next one will be a good trade-off of character development and like good strategy gameplay instead of one or the other.
I'm hoping, because
like we've been getting.
I feel like one thing that Three Houses did really well to me is I liked the characters.
Yeah,
I think there was a
really
nice
good
variety of characters, no matter which house you chose, and of course, whatever house you chose, you could get people from other houses to join your house anyway. But there was enough interesting characters that it kept me going through, to finish that game, even though I thought the maps were god awful.
Yeah, another cool thing was just having the story be told in two parts, like with the jumping of time. I guess spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played Three Houses,
yeah.
But yeah.
I still don't really understand the time jump. So one thing that really bothers me, they have this. There's right before it. There's the chapter where Byleth gets like sucked into the alternate dimension or whatever and has to break out. And the first time I played, I'm like, oh, this is where the time skip happens. Like she's trapped in there for several. And no, you get out immediately, awaken new power, and then fall into a literal plot hole and fall unconscious for 3 years.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't gracefully go into the time skip, but I did like the time skip as a storytelling mechanic. Past that, I did like going back and finding all the new things that had happened and like getting, having to put the story together for that time that you were, missing in the game was pretty nice.
What house did you guys do originally on your first playthrough?
I did
Black
blue, and then yellow.
I did blue first, yeah.
I wanted I think it was Black Eagle, right?
Black, yeah, that sounds right. Their colors, no, they are called the Black Eagles, even though their color's red.
Yes. Yeah, okay, that's what was confusing me.
Well, they're not.
I think the route is called Crimson Flower.
Yes,
right.
Edelgard is red in color, but I think the team is black.
Well, because it's a black eagle on a red banner.
Yeah.
So,
Edelgard seemed like it was. She was pretty hard to beat. Very stout defensively. I was like, oh, this seems like the way to go.
Maybe I did play that route first. I'm trying to remember now.
It also had
because that one seemed like the most.
It had the most complex storyline.
Yeah, you know what? I think I did. I think I did play that one first, and then blue.
The thing for me, one of my complaints with Three Houses structurally is they do this 3 routes thing, and that's fine. That can be cool. But they don't really diverge until halfway through the game.
Yeah.
Like it really feels like the game doesn't want you to play through every route.
Now,
because
I mean, if you play a
getting through the beginning of the game again is such a slog.
Yep.
It's exactly yes, you have some different characters to start with, but especially if you recruit from all houses, it's the exact same game.
Yeah.
It barely changes until halfway through.
Right.
If you do New Game Plus, it's not as bad because you get to keep some of the things. You get to keep your ranks.
Yeah, you can go through it a little
faster. But it is because all the monastery stuff takes forever.
Yeah.
You can automate it, but if you do not do it manually, it is suboptimal. And that bothers me.
Yeah, but
you are leaving resources on the table.
On your second playthrough, that part doesn't really matter.
Well, it did for me because New Game Plus was not added until after I had started my second playthrough.
Oh, okay.
That was a patch.
Well, I don't think because I played through the Black Eagles twice. Because whenever you play through the Black Eagles, it was the only house that had
Yeah,
Yeah,
split
they have.
it's
they
almost
split
like
to
they
the
have
fourth.
2 routes for just that one.
Yeah,
So
that one had
so
split.
there you could save before the split, right?
Correct.
And just load the old save.
Yeah.
No, I
You
think
can't
that's
do
what
that
I did.
with the others because you have to make that choice at the very beginning of the game.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think, what is it? You can either choose to. I can't even remember now. With the Black Eagles, there was maybe you could save Edelgard or not, but I can't remember the.
So the other thing that I think is just really weird about Three Houses, and because the game kind of doesn't make it easy to play through multiple routes, you almost learn this only by talking to people who chose a different route than you. But like, depending which route you pick, these characters are completely different. Like, it's really weird. And I guess the idea is like, oh, without their beloved professor to guide them, they slip into, you know, being completely different people. But it's like, I don't know. I just find it hard to believe because Byleth doesn't talk and has no personality, and that's a trend across new post-awakening
New Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem is we need these self-insert avatar characters to make the player feel like they're part of the world. And that is something that I just has never clicked well with me. And one thing I will say, though, too, if that's what you're going to do, Awakening did it so much better.
Yes.
Because in Awakening, Robin is a customizable character. So if you're going to do that, just make it a custom. Make us be able to pick what that character looks like, and pick like what class they start in.
Yep. I mean, they had a default,
but then,
and on top of that, you had Crom, who got to actually just be the main character. Yeah. Robin was important too, but Crom did some of the heavy lifting. And this weird other, like, we're gonna have a character that's not allowed to be a character because it's supposed to be you, but also they're the most important, you know, character in this universe. And everybody's going to tell you how special you are, and it doesn't do anything for me.
No, because you're just supposed to be the strategist, right? Like, you're just Yeah,
I mean, technically, Fire Emblem 7 had that. There was like a little. It was like a sprite that showed up once, I think, but there was a little strategist sprite, and you got to enter your name.
Yep.
And Lynn would be like, "Oh, thanks for telling us what to do." And then you disappeared forever and forgot that character existed.
This huge war that's vitally important to this world, and we're just going to give a complete stranger complete control of our army because you're special.
No one talked about it. So did any of you guys play Tokyo Mirage Sessions?
I did not.
I remember being curious when they announced it as Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. And then I saw more of it, and I was like, what is this?
Well, I didn't even... And we had 2 chances to play it, and I guess none of us played
it
because it came out on Switch, too.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I guess we also have the Misu games,
which I only played the first one. I don't even think I finished it.
I'm convinced I'm the only one who played Echoes. I liked Echoes quite a lot. It does a lot of things that do... It is very different from classic games. Being a remake of Gaiden, you'd think it's not, but Gaiden was super weird as well. But there were a number of things I liked about it. I'll kind of talk about that a little bit more later. It was kind of a breath of fresh air for me at that point. So, I mean, to specify, I enjoyed Awakening a lot at first. Unfortunately, perspective has shifted because I can identify that as the start of the trajectory that brought us to where Fire Emblem is today. But the start of the decline is still a peak.
Yeah,
I played through that game multiple times. I loved it. I do think looking back, the maps suffer a bit too. There are a lot of them. Like almost every map is route enemy or kill boss.
Yeah.
And it's just
I mean,
enemies
that's
that stand.
most of the new ones.
Enemies that stand in one position and attack when you come into their range, and they
Yep.
don't do anything else.
They don't do anything till you come to them.
Yep.
I didn't really feel I still like Fire Emblem Awakening quite a bit. I see what you're saying, but to me it was Fates that started. And to be fair, I enjoyed Fates well enough when I played it.
No, Fates was the Engage.
But yeah, I mean, Fates was then, here you go. But if you want the whole story, you're going to have to buy this game multiple times.
Yep.
And
Pokemon one.
And that really...
And then the third version was the worst one.
Right. And as somebody that couldn't afford all that, like, just that really... That one, that kind of made me upset. And then I think that kind of made me feel a little lesser. Yes.
I believe it was. Even maybe it was included on the special edition. There was a special edition that had both versions on the same cart, but I think you still had to download the third.
I think you still had to download the third. But that really, I don't know. Maybe that tainted my...
No, I 100%. I think it's the same. For me, it's more that the later experience made it a little bit less enjoyable to go back to Awakening. I don't think...
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, Fates almost made me dislike Awakening. That's almost how much... Like, this was the start of shattering my faith in the series, so to speak. What's crazy is I still bought the next two main games.
Oh,
I remember like the lead up to Three Houses having very little actual excitement. I was very worried about it because of Fates. And then I just bought it anyway. And I found things to enjoy in Three Houses. Mm-hmm. So then when Engage came out and I'm like, is this a mobile game? Was literally my response to the first trailer. I'm like, well, you weren't excited for Three Houses. Like at that point I was like, okay, like the way Fire Emblem games is marketed is not targeting me. So whatever, other people care about this stuff. I can ignore that stuff and still have some fun. And I'm kind of at that same point with Fortune's Weave now. I'm like, I feel no excitement based on the trailer I have seen. And my expectations are not that high. It's likely I will find something to enjoy if I buy the game. But right now, I'm just kind of thinking I won't.
Yeah, it's hard, especially with games.
We don't know much about it
being
at this
up
point
in price. Like, with games being automatically probably more, this will probably be a $70 release.
Oh, yeah. That really nailed in the coffin for me.
It's just, it's one of those things. It's like, this isn't just a guarantee, right? Like, this isn't okay. Well, it's not that much. I can just go ahead and...
It's not a new Zelda game.
Or Mario.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And so I will probably still pick it up. Because I'm just crazy enough to think that there's going to be enough here that... especially if they are going a little bit towards more towards Three Houses. To me, it really comes down to if the characters are good, if the characters are fun and not bland, I know I'm gonna at least be able to get through it. Right? Like that'll carry me through, even if the maps are not quite as good or whatever. But if the characters are bland, even good maps is probably not going to do a whole lot for me. And that was my thing with Engage.
Something I noticed thinking about this, we're kind of almost, I mean, we're like 3 months shy of a year into Switch 2, and Nintendo hasn't released a single like collector's edition version of any of their first party games.
That's true.
So it makes me wonder if
Nope.
maybe those are like going away. Because Fire Emblem's usually the one game where like I usually buy Fire Emblem and Xenoblade are where I buy the collector's editions.
Maybe they have market research indicating that with games being $70, the price point they would offer a collector's
like
edition
$100
at
instead
would
of
be
$90.
unappealing.
Yeah, true.
Because I have the big box for Three Houses and for Engage, and it's like I would buy the big box here, but they probably don't. They're probably not going to put one out.
Yeah.
So to rewind just a little bit, I listed out kind of the timeline. I have this kind of split into 3 eras. I think you could definitely make a case that Three Houses is another shift. That would put just the 3 3DS games in kind of their own category. The first being the Japan era is what I've called it, even though it does not include Binding Blade, which was still a Japan-only game. The 2 things I just want to call attention to here are that the first real like shift in the series, as far as its kind of identity and trajectory, happened before we were even getting these in the West. And that's the departure of Shozo Kaga, the director of the series, from Intelligent Systems in 1999 after the release of Thracia 776. I don't have a super good idea for how much impact that is. I do feel like the Game Boy Advance games are largely in keeping with what I would expect from the Super Famicom game I played, the Famicom game remake I played. But it is notable because he would actually make his own studio, create a series called Tear Ring Saga, which actually was the subject of a lawsuit from Nintendo, which Nintendo did not win, though they did change the name. It was initially called Emblem Saga.
Oh wow!
And it's literally Fire Emblem. It's literally, he kept making pretty much the same kind of games, just under a different name at his own studio. The other is Thracia 776, released in 1999 for the Super Famicom.
That's what I was noticing there, that you even put a note in there like they were making these things for Super Famicom very late. Super Famicom's already way dead by 99. And they're like, we still like it better than the N64.
Yeah, it's strange. It's one of those things that just, it puts a little texture on Path of Radiance. Like, that was the first 3D Fire Emblem. It was the first time you saw Fire Emblem in 3D. It was a return to console because they skipped the N64.
Well, and I think that's probably because they maybe didn't want to make it 3D yet, or maybe they didn't feel like it was something they could do. Because, I mean, we've seen that with a lot of games skipping the N64 because they didn't know how to do it, or whether it would even translate well going in there.
But that's the thing. Like, Fire Emblem, it makes perfect sense. You don't have to figure out a new control scheme. Like, we know, obviously, with hindsight, that the series worked just more or less the same on GameCube as it did on Super Nintendo. It's just, you have 3D models to do your battle animations, and that's that. So it's one of those things that seems really strange to me in hindsight, that they, and I get that, like, the N64 really kind of tried to be a party console with like the 4 control ports, and it didn't have a lot of RPGs, period.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that didn't stop them from putting a game out on the Wii.
No, and I mean,
maybe like they learned.
They were really big on, like, if they did not want 2D games on the N64,
But again, it could have been 3D.
Well, maybe Intelligent Systems just didn't want to do a 3D version of the game at the time. Maybe they didn't feel like it was there.
I'd have to look into what Intelligent Systems was making on the N64.
Probably nothing. They were making these games all the way up till 99 on Super Famicom.
And then moved to the
2
Game
years
Boy
later,
Advance.
we get the GameCube, yeah.
Yeah, maybe some Game Boy stuff. I don't know.
I mean, it did. Yeah. The GameCube release was really late.
But I think the other interesting thing to think is back in 1990, well before Pokemon, Nintendo didn't really have an RPG series in their stable. I mean, they had Mother, but Mother also, I mean, that was one game, 2 games, I guess, at this point. And then Mother 3, Earthbound 64 got trapped in development
Kiboshed.
hell. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing to think too. 90 is a little bit later. I was thinking about this actually because I was looking up the Glory of Heracles series because I mentioned the DS game, but that's kind of like a reboot of it. That game it started on the Famicom, Japan only, and it was 1987. And there is no coincidence that Dragon Quest came out in 1986. And like every other big Japanese developer was looking at it like,
they had to make their
this
own
is
Dragon
really
Quest.
good. Yeah. We could make one of these. In 1987, we see Final Fantasy. We see Shin Megami Tensei comes out in 1987. Glory of Heracles comes out in That's Data East's answer to Dragon Quest, basically. It's kind of funny. So I do wonder if Nintendo saw Fire Emblem as that, but they also, I mean, obviously it's different in some important ways. It's Phantasy Star. Phantasy Star also came out 87.
Yep.
But yeah, it just, I don't know. I wonder if that was maybe Nintendo's thought with developing Fire Emblem is like, let's do something like this, but let's do something a little different. And if that maybe informed the original Fire Emblem or not.
I mean, Nintendo still doesn't really have a mainline RPG.
Well, we have Pokemon
franchise. Yeah, but Pokemon is kind of walking the line of being a Nintendo. I mean, it's Nintendo only, but it's not solely owned by Nintendo.
I think they kind of consider Xenoblade to be
still,
their...
Even that is more like one they assimilated.
I know.
Yeah.
Too.
But they assimilated it. But I have a feeling that is what
Paper
between
Mario.
That and Pokemon. I think
But they didn't want Paper Mario to be an RPG anymore.
We have the Paper Mario
and Luigi.
Exactly.
Those games even stepped away from being RPG. That's what I'm saying. They don't really have it's turn-based RPG game franchise.
They have Fire Emblem though.
Well,
yeah,
and that's always been that has become more how I see it as well. I do see Fire Emblem, especially in the direction it's taken, but really ultimately at its root, I think is less a really a strategy game proper and more an RPG on a grid. The decisive factor is always your character's stats and how you level them. But yeah, so that's just kind of some observations on that. I'd kind of split off what I call the international era, which is when Fire Emblem went international after Kaga left, up to the 12th game, New Mystery of the Emblem for the DS, which is kind of funny that that's a remake of Fire Emblem 3, which is itself a remake of Fire Emblem 1. In a lot, it's kind of a remake. And my understanding is Mystery of the Emblem retells the story of the first game and then continues it. And it retells it in like a compressed form. So it's just kind of funny. They've remade the first game a lot of times now.
Yeah. Gets a lot of love.
Which, I mean, Marth shows up in everything, too. It's not too surprising that they would do that. And then, of course, you have, kind of the Awakening, obviously, people agree, is a big turning point. It's also really not that long between releases, but it felt like it because I kind of feel like we had the remakes, and one of those remakes we didn't get that was Japan only. So 2010,
that's good.
The DS remake of New Mystery of the Emblem. So really, if you compare it to Radiant Dawn, that's 5 years between Radiant Dawn and Awakening, which is the time between new games.
It's kind of crazy the turnaround between Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Just 2 years between those games, and I mean, like, they're big titles.
Yeah,
and you can tell
like they were able to take a lot of
you can tell Radiant Dawn was designed probably first as a GameCube game.
I mean, in the
I could see that. Like, I think they probably, I think they probably just continued developing, because wasn't it actually supposed to be a trilogy?
I've never seen explicit confirmation, but I feel very strongly that it should have been a trilogy. There's definitely a lot of Radiant Dawn's problems, I feel like, come from trying to do too much in too little space,
trying to close it.
Yes,
despite it being like the longest game,
especially in the last third, it starts to feel like they're trying to wrap things up, and there's a couple of plot points, especially in that last bit of that one, that I feel like they're like, oh, we gotta figure out how to finish this plot.
It's always something I've felt pretty strongly, because the Dawn Brigade was my introduction to Fire Emblem, and then their game just gets hijacked by Ike halfway through, and Ike's like, move out of the way, I'm the main character now. And
well, see, and Ike was always my introduction, so that was, so I can get what you're saying, though. But to me, that was like, oh, good.
Well, that's a lot of people's experience with those games. I really think it would have felt a lot more fleshed out if we got Path of Radiance exactly as it is, and then had an entire game basically starring the Dawn Brigade, maybe touching on what's happening in Crimea. But even then, I feel like just get an entire game with the Dawn Brigade, have that game end, and then have the third game maybe pick up with Alencia, and then introduce Ike, and then reintroduce the Dawn Brigade later. I think that would have worked so much better.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, so we've kind of touched on a lot of this already. But I think the overall idea is what makes Fire Emblem Fire Emblem. And has that maybe shifted over time. One of the things that I don't think the rest of you could actually follow the link, I just find kind of funny, the Fire Emblem theme song, which in Japan has always had lyrics, which were used in the original TV commercials. I learned about this actually from the old Smash Dojo website, because Sakurai spoke with some fondness of these, like this hokey little jingle that they came up with to the main theme of Fire Emblem. So this rough translation, Fire Emblem Tough Simulation. When you begin playing it, you won't be able to sleep anymore. Although you should surpass your opponent, a critical hit. When there's nothing more left, Life Staff. When you're in a hurry, Re-Life Staff. Both in attack and defense, don't press unwisely, and don't let anyone die. Fire Emblem Tough Simulation. When you begin playing it, you won't be able to sleep anymore. Put too much effort on powerful people, and your warriors on the whole will only be novices. This is a very coarse translation, so I apologize for that, but it's, is what I've got to work with. Fire Emblem Tough Simulation, a tale of love and courage. Fire Emblem Tough Simulation, come and win bravely. When things become dangerous, run like the wind. Those who get cocky will put themselves in peril. Fire Emblem Tough Simulation, come and win bravely. There's actually like a whole like 4 verses version or something from like the 30th anniversary of the series. But yeah, I in answering that question, I feel like the theme song does answer that question in a way, at least for the classic era. You have that stuff in there, like don't let anyone die. Or, you know, don't put too much effort on one unit because then the rest of yours will all be weak.
Right.
And that is something I feel like the series has drifted away from.
I mean, it makes it more accessible, right? Like, and I can't be angry at them trying to make games more accessible, to sell better, to sell, like, right? Because if it wasn't for them trying to make it a little more accessible with Awakening, we probably wouldn't have any more. You know, it probably would have died off. And as long as it still is an option to play it a little more like the classics, right? Like you can turn permadeath on
so
or
you
off.
can, and this is the conversation people had when Awakening came out. It was kind of controversial. The consensus, which I still resist, is if you don't want casual mode, don't play on casual mode. The thing I think we have to acknowledge, this doesn't invalidate the entire experience this doesn't invalidate Fire Emblem Awakening or the games that have casual mode. But when casual mode is an option, especially an option people are expected to choose, that changes the way the game is designed.
Yep.
And you see this, it's very clear
true.
when you play the first game. There are a lot of filler units. And those filler units are there because you're expected to lose some people along the way. And they need to be replaced.
Right.
That's not how modern Fire Emblem is designed.
No. They want you to hold on.
That doesn't completely ruin it, no. But it's not how it's designed. It's different.
That is true. I can see that.
Also, I mean, everyone that is playing the older ones, we're also like making a save and then like killing the game.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, at that point, it's like, what is it?
I mean,
did you really play with permadeath whenever you restarted your game to save somebody?
Well, that's just it, right? Like playing through, Path of Radiance for the first time, I'd be heartbroken if anytime I lost any of those characters, because I was connecting with those characters, and I'd reset, replay the level, sometimes 3-4 times until I could get through some of those harder levels without losing.
So that's the crazy thing about the DS remake. There are special characters you can only recruit based on who's died. You cannot recruit every character.
True.
People did not like it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think that there's pros and cons. I think that, though, to your point, I think if they're going to add in the casual mode, they almost have to figure out how to rebalance the game a little bit better. Because you're right. Because the whole game kind of becomes unbalanced a little bit.
Well, it's just different. It doesn't have to be unbalanced. And I actually, because there's plenty of other strategy games. So this is more my perspective on it, is there's plenty of other strategy games that don't have this. To me, this was a thing that drew me to Fire Emblem back when I picked up Radiant Dawn based on what little I knew about the series. I thought, that's interesting. That makes this game different from other games I've played before. And now it's there, but it's there as a kind of special option. And I do think that has been part of the overall shift. The really strange thing is it's often decoupled from difficulty. Like, especially Awakening had something called Phoenix mode, where your characters will literally revive every turn. So you can play like Lunatic plus Phoenix mode, and it's a very weird thing because the game's hard and not hard at the same time.
It's punishing you, but you don't stay punished.
Actually, I'm not 100% sure. It might be disabled for the highest difficulty. I don't know. But so a similar thing that I think is it's tied to difficulty, and this has been around since Gaiden. But Gaiden was weird. Gaiden was always weird. But a big early example of this is Sacred Stones, and that's basically giving you a grind option. Now, a lot of the classic games did have the Colosseum, which is arguably a grind option.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I really like about Tellius is it doesn't have a grind option. You get a limited number of experience points, ultimately. It does have bonus experience, which is the best thing ever. I really like the bonus experience system because it gives you this very modular secondary objective to maps. If you can beat a map in fewer turns, even if that means not clearing every enemy, you might actually gain more for it. And that really, it means you don't... and this is something I think is great from a difficulty design perspective, is you don't have to do it to beat the game, but you can attempt to. You can say, I want to beat... Yes. I drove myself nuts playing Path of Radiance on the jailbreak level, trying to clear it without alerting the guards. And I restarted it like 15 times, and I almost went insane. But I like that was a thing I could do. It was totally unnecessary. It's not like I need all that bonus experience to clear the game, but I like doing it. There's a map in...
Yes.
There's a map in challenge. The weird thing is they're not very explicit with the conditions for it, which I don't like. So you have to look up guides for this. There's a map in Radiant Dawn called Jeffrey's Charge. It's the first time you get to control Jeffrey. And the bonus experience condition on that map, which for the first 2 times I played the game, I didn't even know this. I cleared the map. I cleared every enemy on the map because I'm like, I want XP. But the whole thing is, this is a rebellion army, and Alencia tells... It's story integration, too. Alencia tells Jeffrey, I want you to end this with as little bloodshed as possible. So you actually get 100 bonus experience for every enemy on the map you don't kill. And you can get 10,000 bonus experience, potentially.
Right.
If you just unequip your weapons and do a lot of weird maneuvering to get around people and only kill the boss. And it's fun. And you don't have to do it, but it is rewarding if you do. And I think that's something that allows for a lot of room for improvement.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think what made some of those, besides that, is it also gave the opportunity for some more creative like goals, for the map.
Well, because they don't become
destroy the boss.
They don't become a binary. You can be partially successful.
Yep.
Yes. Exactly. But it felt more creative because there were different ways. It was not just to simply just destroy.
Yeah, you get more than one, more than
like
one
you said, it was even built into the story.
And personally, this may be unpopular for a lot of people. I like defense maps. Now, defense maps, arguably, it's difficult to make them actually hard because most people play the game expecting they won't have units die. So if you balance around that, especially a good defensive unit can just kind of stand in a choke point and live forever.
Clog up a hole.
I think if we're going to do casual mode, we should put some challenging defense maps in the game. Because then we don't have to worry about players restarting the game every time a unit dies.
Correct.
But I like defense maps anyway because there is an inherent secondary objective in them where, yes, all you have to do to win is survive, 12 turns without them crossing a certain line or whatever. But if you want to earn the maximum amount of experience, you need to play differently. So that's why I like those.
Yeah. So what about character relationships? The older games, so much of it was, if you wanted to see those relationships build, you had to make sure that you had characters fighting next to each other, and it really became, you may or may not see relationships form unless you were being very intentional about deployment and how things were fighting. Where I feel like in the newer games, it's really shifted to outside of the battles is the way you grow these things, and then you might get a bonus in the battles, but really the relationships are built off the battlefield.
They can be entirely
and
off.
I'm just curious as to how you guys feel about that.
This has been a thing from game one, but in game one it was really, well, not really in game one. So game one, the only, I don't think it was even based on support, but Marth and Sheeta can get married. I think the only condition is Sheeta just has to be alive at the end of the game. Marth will always be alive. You get a game over if he's not.
Right.
But it's more just that, like, this is a heroic fantasy story. So what do you do after you slay the evil dragon? You marry the princess and you live happily ever after, right? And obviously that expanded throughout the series. Arguably, something that resembles Awakening and Fates a lot is Genealogy of the Holy War, which went as explicit as having children units. And Genealogy of the Holy War still did it in a much more meaningful way than either of those games did, by having a very sensible, lengthy time gap. Spoilers for Genealogy of the Holy War, which if you played Engage, you also get spoiled on this, by the way. So, but your main character, halfway through the game, gets killed, his wife gets abducted, and then you have an 18-year time skip. And the kids of your other characters and a few of the stray survivors have to kind of finish things.
Yep, and together.
And that's a good plot hook. And that's one that makes sense for there to be a time gap.
Maybe one day we'll get a remake.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd love that.
We keep hearing about rumors of it, but I mean,
well, I think because Engage very intentionally made Sigurd like front and center, even more so than Marth to an extent. So that had a lot of people thinking they were trying to prime people for a Fire Emblem 4 remake, but it never happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's also next in line, so if we are going to get one, that's should be the next one.
There's even potential. My understanding is Thracia takes place in the middle of that story. So there is even potential to maybe integrate that into one game.
Yeah.
I know Thracia itself is divisive for having some awkward mechanics and also being the true hardest Fire Emblem game in the series. I think it mostly has to do with the fact that there are a lot of maps where the enemies have ballistas, and ballistas cannot miss in that game, and they do a fixed amount of damage.
Wow.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So but to the question at hand, the character relationships, I think, has become a more pronounced focus. Paired endings were a thing long before Awakening, but this design concept, which I think has become a like non-negotiable for making a Fire Emblem game now, is that every character needs to support with every other character. And you play matchmaker between all of them.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
previously it was, for the most part, limited to, hey, does this make sense? Because there was always the idea every character gets their own little ending. This is how they live their life after the war. And for some of them, it makes sense for them to spend that life together. And for some of them, it doesn't. Now, I was kind of reliving Radiant Dawn. I was not aware of most of the paired endings in Radiant Dawn. There are some strange choices there. Because you have to intentionally break them up otherwise, I was always bothered by Micaiah Soth because of the age difference. Fire Emblem writers are apparently very comfortable with age differences. Like, she raised you as a child, man. Like, this is weird. But, you know, notwithstanding that,
it's all in the name of Fire Emblem.
Yeah, there's some other ones. And it's really like, of all the characters, why these two is more like I know, like, Astrid Makalov is one. And it's like, just why? Like, it's like they pick two random ones and are like, no, but these people, this is a pairing we think is important. And so many other ones aren't. Not that I was thinking of any, but it's just, it's a little weird to me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of odd, especially sometimes if they give you so much freedom on who you're pairing up with and whether or not it actually makes sense.
Well, and then there's the ones that it almost forces on you in the last few games, which is where, you know, I just have to say, you know, some people like this, but to me it is the height of cringe when we have, I know they're not blood related, but
oh yeah.
Fire Emblem Fate's entire you have to progress to even find that out. Fire Emblem Fate's entire premise is your siblings are into you.
Yeah.
And I just and we move from that
a little cringy
to Fire Emblem Hot for Teacher, aka Three Houses. And then we move from that to Engage, where Colgate Total over here is like a god to these people.
Yeah.
Like and they worship him or her. And it's like, I don't know. They seem to be searching intentionally for new heights to make this very uncomfortable for me.
The main character of Engage is just...
And that goes a long way to what has turned me off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they made it so that it wasn't so in your face or so, like, you don't really have a choice. And then to make it kind of some cringy circumstances. Yeah, that's why... I mean, Awakening did it okay, I think. But
so
you're right.
The child characters in Awakening made sense because the core conceit of that story was it was X-Men Days of Future Past. It was, we came to prevent a bad... We're your children from the future. The future's terrible. We're going to prevent it from happening. Yep. Okay, cool. Cool story. Correct. I mean, time travel ultimately always creates plot holes. But as long as you just keep it, you know, light and don't get too bogged down in the details, I think that can be fun. Then Fates had this weird thing where, hey, go give birth in a pocket dimension where time moves faster so that our children can join the army. Like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah.
They got to grow up fast. Yeah, we need reinforcements
So start producing children and have them grow up in that pocket dimension. That was kind of, yeah, questionable choices.
And hey, to its credit,
All
I have
around in
not
that
seen
game.
any direct indication of that happening in what's it called? Fortune's Weave. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah.
Just because there's a pattern here. And
Maybe
look,
we'll
the
fix
setting has this like gladiator coliseum, so I'm just running with the idea that somebody is going to be like somebody else's slave and somebody's going to be into it.
Oh no!
Because
Sam,
this is what Fire Emblem has
Now you
done
got
to
me
me.
worried.
It has made me expect this.
Expect the weirdness.
Oh, you got me worried.
And I don't
Yeah.
I don't think I need to endure it anymore. I mean, that's the big part of it, really. Like, there's other things. There's changes in mechanics. But if you could just make it less awkward, maybe I could get back on board.
I mean, we didn't even talk. We talked about the awkwardness. It made me remember that. It was taken out of the game, before it made it to localization out of Japan. But the whole rubbing mechanic.
Well, and hey, this was a thing I gave points to Three Houses for. Is like
in Awakening,
we at least made things a little classier. Like we're going out to tea. It's not like hey, come to my room and let me rub your face.
Rub your face of some of these characters that were probably not even fully of age.
Not even in Japan.
I mean, and so that was probably. I know everybody talks about changes made, and we've had multiple instances where characters get more clothes and stuff like that when we get them, but that was one change though I was
you were
firmly on board with. I was okay with that one. So hopefully we can avoid
all
that.
this discussion. Can we answer the last question there? What would it take to get Sam back on board with Fire Emblem?
I just need some space, I think. And really, I think the real the breaking point for me was not so much disappointment with Engage. It's more so that strategy RPGs came back and that playing stuff like Triangle Strategy and Tactics Ogre Reborn, I just feel like I would rather play those. You talk about relationships and awkward dynamics within them. I feel like, Triangle Strategy treats me right and doesn't come home drunk and beat me. Yeah. And Fire Emblem's over here calling me up again saying, baby, it's different this time. I've changed. And I'm like, I don't believe you.
Oh, I don't think they're saying that. I think they're just wanting you to be okay with it. They know they're not going to change.
I mean, there's no way to know until we get the game, which will, we know it's coming out this year. I'm expecting it'll be sometime between, probably summer. Probably summer is my guess.
They're just going to drop that dude
because
it's gotta
we
be,
know what
they're not talking about it. So
yeah,
it's just going to be one of those games that are like a month.
I don't know. They might give it a whole direct.
I think whenever we do get. I was going to say, as soon as we get another direct, I got to think we got to get an update because we've gotten little of this game. I'm thinking
like a month ahead of time, we'll get word of a direct. We'll get the direct, and then they'll be like, this game's coming.
Coming, in a couple weeks kind of a thing, or like a month.
So I would, all cringe aside, I think what I would like to see for the story, for the series going forward, I don't know how likely this is to just streamline the social mechanics. I accept that they're going to be there. I don't actually mind them. I mostly mind that they're a big time sink.
Yeah.
because
Maybe
I actually
trim them back a little bit.
like time management type of mechanics. If they actually made that a little bit more of an actual trade-off, like what you're going to do every week for the downtime stuff. I like stuff like that. That's actually kind of like Harvest Moon, like maximizing your schedule. If they could, and to be fair, I think so far it looks like maybe Fortune's Weave doesn't have a player avatar. I don't know if that guy Kai,
I don't know. We know enough to say that.
Maybe introduced later, but so far we haven't seen one, at least not confirmed.
Right.
And just to give more varied map objectives, I think those are things I would like to see.
That's
more variation in the maps and just some kind of additional objectives that can kind of like a way to almost master a map instead of just clear it. I think that I think is a good way to satisfy people who maybe want to challenge themselves without making the game unplayable for people who aren't ready to.
Yeah.
Right. I think you're right.
Do we want to move to the community couch and close this dude out?
Yes, we will. Here. We will cover the community couch. I want to get to that. Just let the community speak.
Do you want to kind of do?
We got a long one, but we'll
3 real responses. Do we want?
Yeah, let's just each take one.
Each take one.
All right.
I can go first. I'll do solos here. So Solo said, my first time playing a Fire Emblem game to completion was Three Houses. Prior, I had only dabbed into them some. Since I have played all Fire Emblem moving forward from Three Houses and enjoyed them, I do appreciate that they have drifted away from not being as outright date sim. I mean, we've only got one example so far moving forward, but we'll see. I still enjoy the turn-based with option to auto battle to plow through more of the trash fights. I forgot, we didn't really talk about that, but that was something Engage really introduced, was that auto battle, which I know Solo likes that in games because he likes to move through a lot of games. Yeah. Stoked to play the next installment. Have a best friend that is waiting to buy his Switch 2 probably the time it comes out. So interesting. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think of the Switch 2 as Fire Emblem as a system seller, but
for some people,
I guess any game can be for somebody, right? So, so it sounds like Solo is just pretty much all like, let's go. Whatever you want to show me. Obviously, he is brand new to the series, since the Switch.
With Three Houses. I wonder if he's played the Warriors games, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard him talk about it, but it's possible. You have to let us know, Solo.
And Hoots gave us a whole paper on this, didn't he?
I'll take it. It's a bit wordy, but I think it's worth reading. So Hoot says, Fire Emblem. Mm-hmm. My first experience with Fire Emblem, like every other red-blooded American, was trying to figure out where the heck Roy and Marty from Super Smash Bros. Melee came from. Shortly after Melee, I discovered the first localized Fire Emblem on GBA. Marth and Roy were nowhere to be found, but I still had a great time with my first ever strategy RPG. I was so hooked that I played every officially localized game since, except for the Shadow Dragon DS remake. Nobody's played that. Nobody has played it.
Are we sure it actually exists?
Nobody has.
It's not real. It's not real.
I got it.
I've seen the best in the wild, but I've never. Yeah, this could be a fake.
I have to track it down. The best game in the franchise is probably Awakening. Okay, there's probably a lot of people who would back him up on that. And that kind of checks out when you learn the developers thought it would be the last one ever. But ironically, the relationship, marriage, children mechanic that was part of what made the game so special has taken hold of the series in a way that makes me long for the days when strategy played a much more prominent role in the series. The mechanic felt shoehorned into Fates, and relationships seemed to trump strategy in Three Houses, even though I did enjoy it for what it was. Engage was almost a return to form strictly from a gameplay perspective, despite the characters being way too over the top. The way people talk about Three Houses comparatively, though, I know the artistic and storytelling choices for Engage were an understandable barrier for a lot of players. I'm quite hopeful Fortune's Weave will continue to make strategy a meaningful part of the experience, and its ties to Three Houses will help new fans stick with the game long enough to appreciate Fire Emblem's strategy roots. Yeah, I mean, to his credit, he says almost a return to form. I remember reading a lot of reviews for Engage that use that exact phrase, return to form. And the conclusion I came to is anybody who reviews Fire Emblem Engage and calls it a return to form for the series, my immediate question is, what form are we returning to?
Yeah, which games did you
and
play
my conclusion is that such reviewers have played Three Houses and maybe Awakening. So when I say return to form, I want to return to Tellius, or maybe Chugdral, the genealogy of the Holy War setting, which you can argue Three Houses takes some inspiration from. But that's the form I want to return to. I did not play Engage thinking it was a return to form, really, in hardly any sense. I find its similarity to the older games to be mostly surface level. Now, it did roll back some of the Three Houses stuff, so I think that's where that idea comes from. But it also had a lot of changes too, like the break from the weapon triangle, the emblem rings were the big thing for me mechanically.
Yeah,
I think
they
really
a lot of things.
The entire game gets warped around emblem ring abilities to the point where it's almost like everything else doesn't matter. And I still felt I started the game on the higher difficulty that unlocks when you beat the game, the maddening. I think they call it maddening now. And I still felt like that was the case. It was almost even more so. I think one of the weaknesses Fire Emblem's always had, and really any strategy RPG has always had where you don't level as a team, is that it's very easy to create a single over-leveled juggernaut unit. And every game has this problem, essentially. You know, you level your lord up enough and they just solo the game themselves. You can do it with Sigurd in the best game in the series. But Engage felt like they were just leaning into that. Like, yeah, at the start of the game, you get one emblem ring, give it to your best unit, and don't level anyone else. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You don't really need to. Yeah. No.
All right. We got one more, and then we can call it a night. Tim, Neoprime 33. He doesn't have a nickname right now, right? Ndokapon?
No, I think he cleansed himself of his.
No, he got rid of that. He's not even in last place.
He's in second. You got to watch out for him.
But yeah, Tim says, I tried several of them. Three Houses was the one that I thought I would be into, but the focus on relationships and the school more than the battles kind of turned me off. Engage was the one that I thought I wouldn't like and was probably going to be my last one that I would try, but that one grabbed a hold of me until I finished the main story. I love my time with Engage, looking forward to what comes next. He also has another side note here that there are a lot of the early ones he did not try. He did not get to play any of the DS, 3DS ones, so he still has gaps. But it sounds like maybe he wants to go back and try those at some point.
He was a champion for.
Yeah, he really was.
Engage.
He talked about it a lot.
He really, and he put his time into it, and he just kept at it, and he's the one who kept encouraging me over and over. Just finish it. Just finish it. The story will really grab you at the end. So he's definitely been a champion.
I think that's an awkward position to be in. liking Engage but not liking Three Houses.
It's definitely not
the Three Houses
common.
fans definitely outnumber both Tim and us.
100%.
Yeah.
So that is 100% what I think we should all be expecting from Fortune's Weave. We can hope that maybe some of the stuff from Three Houses is refined or streamlined, but I think it's here to stay.
Yeah.
I think we told them that it's going to come back just based off Engage sales.
Right. Could be.
I think that's our Fire Emblem talk, though. I think we did it. We survived.
Yeah.
We leveled up our
Don't let anyone
main
die.
character and got everyone out.
Only a few of us died.
And we know that.
But we lived.
We know that.
We turned permadeath off.
That's right. We turned permadeath off. We know Dan is going to be attentively listening to the entire episode here.
Yeah, he already doesn't like when they go long.
We'll have completely turned him around on Fire Emblem. Expect him to be completely into the series.
He'll go buy the new one when it comes out.
Listening.
I threatened
No,
to send him a
he'll
copy of
only
Three
like
Houses.
Fates. He'll only like Fates. It'll be the only one he likes.
Actually,
There's
he'll
no
be the one.
factories in
He'll be the
Fates,
one that
so-
goes and buys
Shadow Dragon DS.
Shadow Dragon. Yeah,
Shadow
Dragon.
It's
Dragon.
probably awesome.
it could be.
I gotta find that.
Yeah, it's like track down.
All right. Well, let me know how I was overly mean to Engage, and Three Houses is the future, and I just need to stop. I just need to make love and not war, like the series, instead of holding on to the past, or I don't know. I actually was ready to be a lot meaner to modern Fire Emblem. I hope it's all in good fun, and mostly I'm just communicating where I'm at. I don't fault anybody for liking newer games or enjoying newer games. I hope that came across. Usually our community is pretty chill. We can share opinions without getting butt hurt over it, for the most part. So if that sounds like a community you would like to be a part of, you should check out our Discord. And we don't just talk about Fire Emblem. We talk about all kinds of retro games. We have Free Stuff Friday. We talk about Plock. Because where else are you going to talk about Plock? So if that sounds good to you, find the link to our Discord either on the website or Dan's Blue Sky RetroLogic Games.bsky.social. And you are welcome to jump in to our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. Thank you for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. And you can find all sorts of things, like all the other shows, on the website retrologic.games. Till next time, see you later. I don't know. I don't have a sign off for the
Bye.
show.
Stop.
thing.
Now you can play Virtual Boy.
Now I can play Virtual Boy without
killing yourself.
Without this thing.
Do they really want you to hold that one up to your face?
Yeah. And you got because you got the
Does it have
control.
A strap
So
on
you're
it?
you're holding on to the, because you put the, because you have to take one Joy-Con off, slide it on, put the Joy-Con back on, and then you hold on to the Joy-Con. It really isn't horrible. And you don't have to slouch.
It looks like it's actually a better.
And my glasses don't
thought.
feel it came pre-assembled and everything.
Quality cardboard.
It's I thought I was going to have to assemble it, but it's all put together.
It didn't come with Labo instructions.
No,
how to put it.
And there's a lot of plastic. There's actually quite a bit of plastic in it.
Yeah.
So, and supposedly it's a lot easier to try and play like Mario Kart in virtual reality and Zelda by using this version, the cardboard version,
instead of the Labo.
Yeah, but my biggest thing is still, and I don't know if it's because of my progressive lenses or what, but the bottom part of the screen is always blurry no matter how much I play around with the settings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just because I've got basically the built-in bifocals along the bottom or what. But
I don't know. It's amazing that the Virtual Boy even works. Like,
that's true.
The original Virtual Boy was like a insane technology, like for how they even made it work.
Yeah, 100%.
If you read on it, like it's like literally 1 pixel tall and so much wide, and it like shoots back and forth across there to create the image. It's like,
that's crazy. When you
I can't remember how many frames per second it is, but it's like thousands of frames per second.
It would have to be, I guess.
You heard it here, folks. Virtual Boy is 1,000 FPS. It's the most advanced gaming system known.
It's something crazy because it uses that one line to digitize all the images on a 1 pixel high.
Well, this conversation's going to have to go at the end of the episode.
Maybe.
Yeah, I've heard others talk about it, and I've seen some videos on it. It's pretty insane.
That's right.
But it also makes me wonder how your eyes don't just explode whenever you're like
exactly
like how you can actually like track it and stuff.
But I am interested to see if changing the color once they finally put out the other colors, if that helps a little bit.
Does it display on the Switch in red? I haven't opened it.
Yeah, it displays on the Switch in red. So you would just within the Switch you can change it out. Once they add that in, but there's no spot for film. No, mine is not colored. The cardboard one is not.
The plastic one has colored lens inside.
Right.
You have to pop out.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you might be able to try it right now without. I don't know. Play all those. Play all those games on your Retroid, and you'll be happy.
That's why this one is the good one to play the other games in the virtual reality versions of them, because they're not going to be in red. You won't have to look at them in red, because these are clear lenses. So it'll be a system thing that changes the color for these. I guess there's lens change out though in the plastic. So maybe the cardboard one was the way to go.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, play them on your Retroid. You could change it to. I changed mine to white, so it kind of looked like I was just playing like a Game Boy Pocket with a backlit screen.
Yeah. I'll have to play around with that too, for sure.
Definitely nice.
All right, anyway, we better get back into this because
it's
getting late.
Might as well. Just timestamp that.